We now return to Reckoning of New York. I guess we move on to end the night. You wish to end the night? I have no choice, so yes. Night 2. 6 nights until New Year. Again and again it's the same sensation. Heat's died down, but now I'm hungry. A sudden plunge into frigid water, snapping me back to reality. Not exactly a graceful awakening. More of a shit, here we go again kind of moment. In the midst of this routine, there's always that distinctive first touch. The thing that jolts me back to consciousness. This time it's the gentle rustle of pages turning. A subtle nudge back to the waking world. Crack open an eye and look around. In his derelict armchair, Pedrick sits bent over a heavy tome, pencil in hand, etching thoughts onto the yellowed pages. His gaze never leaves the text, but he must have sensed me awaken. Good evening. Hope you slept well. Kinda. As well as one can when their home's been taken away. God, I had so many cushions. Bought them myself, you know. There was even a little fox embroidered on one. Very quaint. I would never have pictured you as one for nostalgia. Yeah, well, you don't know me at all, so I suppose that is fair. So, did I snooze through anything noteworthy? He jots down one last note and carefully closes the book before finally glancing up at me, face unyielding and cold as ice. I depend on your definition of noteworthy, but I have been pondering our next steps. Oh, do tell. I've been working for the Anarchs for the past 2 years and forged friendly relationships with some of them, Orc included, although in this particular case I would rather avoid his presence. It takes much time with you on that one. That makes 2 of us. Judging by his sour face last night, he was not happy with me snagging you away like that. Well, I am of help to him in the current situation. Torque is more than occupied with the goings-on within his turf at the moment. He may have neither time nor patience for a visit. Yeah, all right. So what do you propose, then? The allegations against your sire. See, I happen to know someone who used to be deeply entrenched in the darker corners of the Red Market, an anarch working not too far from here. If Castle truly wields as much influence as the court suggests, my contact could offer substantial aid. Substantial, you say? Wow, can't argue with that, except it's a no-go, amigo. His face scrunches up in surprise, and he repeats the words as if trying to taste them for poison. A no-go, amigo? Look, I get it. You have friends and contacts aplenty, but so do I. Also, I know Reynard Castle like the back of my hand. We've been dealing all around the city on and off for almost 2 years. There's got to be somebody here who knows where he bailed. Pedrick furrows his brow, waiting for me to elaborate further. This is a real quandary. 2 little angels whisper steadily into my ears, one having fallen spectacularly into the pits of hell, while the other has only sauntered vaguely downwards, spouting complete contradictory notions. In the end, I ignore them both, as I often do, and choose a third option, the best option, one where I don't have to reveal much at all. There's this one guy who hangs around Harlem. Eli Sansaric? Sure. Apparently he's... Eli? Is that supposed to... I don't fucking know. Apparently he's one of the few kindred that didn't burn with hatred for Reynard. So it must mean they were getting along. He tilts his head slightly at the name of my... well, let's just call it a contact. Eli Sansaric, the serpent? Why? Do you have something against them? Do you know what the ministry... Never mind that. The ministry. The ministry always has something to offer. The often cult-like clan recruits those able to employ temptation as a weapon. They embrace those with the will and the means to sway, entrap, and ultimately liberate their targets from whatever they seek. Victims' possessions, allegiance, or even faith. To the serpents, everything has a price. Okay. Do you know what the ministry... never mind that. Do you have the slightest inkling about what Sansaric's capable of? Well, I'm not fond of that look, the one filled with pity, but somehow I can't seem to bring out a credible lie despite him. Go on, enlighten me. To put it bluntly, only in the most desperate situation would anyone with an ounce of sanity consider seeking out Eli Sansaric. A perfect lead, given my circumstances. I can go find him now, have a little chat, and be back in no time. we could go find him, but it's far from the best course of action at the moment. Sansaric is known to be extremely dangerous and territorial. We should not take him lightly. I propose we go to the Anarchs first. At least there we will not be in danger of losing our heads. Being dramatic. We're going to be fine. What's the worst that can happen? I believe us literally losing our heads is most definitely in the realm of possibility. We could split the party, you know. Again, we most certainly could not. See, I think... Sweet Lord, this guy. I hate time to kick things up a notch. I fish a weighted coin out of my belt bag. Oops, sorry, I think I reached my limit here. How about we flip a coin? Heads, we go to Sansaric. Tails, we go to Harlem. I mean the Bronx. I hate it when people actually listen to what I say. Fine, fine, call it already. I see him hesitate, eyes going blank for a moment. His hand almost inadvertently crawls toward his ring, spinning it around a couple of times. Squinting at it, I finally managed to make out that it's a dice ring, one of those really dorky ones that D&D nerds wear when they want to look like they're silliest. Finally, Pedric looks back at me, gaze as sharp as ever. All right, what do you call it? Suit yourself, buddy. It's your funeral. Ah, shit. Toss for heads. How am I supposed to know? Heads. I lower my head to hide a little smile. The weighted coin glimmers in the warm light of the floor lamp as it soars through the air, spinning quicker than the wheel of fate. It lands safely on my outstretched hand, and I flip it onto my palm, showing it confidently to Pedric without even a glance. He looks at it and smiles up at me like the cat that got the cream. Tails, fancy that. Seems like we're going to the Bronx after all. What? Impossible. Truly impossible. This has never happened before. Again, the illusion of choice. Great. Because I'm willing to bet, if we had chosen Tails, it would have been... Treacherous coin? Have I not been good to you? Have I not kept you safe in my pocket all these years? Is this how you repay me? I mean, what the actual fuck? Who is he? Did David Blaine finally freeze to death and turn into this lanky trickster? How did he... best 2 out of 3? Come on, we can take my car. Well, shit, that's one battle lost. Yeah, your car. Wait, you mean that black rattletrap out front? It's a perfectly serviceable vehicle whose minuscule size allows for... You know what? How about we just go and you can enjoy your minuscule vehicle in silence? We are busting through these. Journal entry. Are we in night 2? I guess so. Somehow I botched my own rigged coin toss. Indeed. Because, like, if I was meant to not do that, you'd think that, you know, it'd be... My weighted coin always lands on heads, and then, you know, the player, because surely she would know where it's weighted. Again, I think that's an illusion of choice there. Anyway, and now I'm following Pedric's lead. About to have a word with his Anarch buddies about Reynard. Wild. A is for anarchy. Stupid coin. Gotta take the L, I guess. Not my ideal move, but she doesn't talk like she should have a goddamn Walkman. She's not from that time period. But tagging along with the caitiff might get me some answers. Plus, having seen Torque's reaction at Elysium, those Anarchs might have a soft spot for Pedric and share more than they would if I asked them myself. Okay? Pedric's car is, indeed, a perfectly serviceable vehicle, and that's legally all I'm allowed to say. I'm having a blast shuffling through all the ancient cassette tapes he's collected, judging his taste in music out loud. Another Bohemian Rhapsody? Seriously? I thought I only had one of them. Terrific. He says it with the straightest of faces, and I can't help but burst out into laughter. God forbid you get with the times. Says the woman with the cassette open. But how about a legit car radio? You know, to update your playlist? Says the one sporting a Walkman on her... Get her, Pedric! Get her! What do you mean a legit car radio? Like a modern one? Because fucking cars going all the way back had car radios. Clearly, if it's a cassette deck, it's gonna be a legit car radio. What the Continue on. Touché, I guess. Still, I do have a soft spot for Queen. It never gets old. Just saying, you're missing out on a whole lot if you ignore stuff from the 21st century. The music scene's been booming. Ever heard of K-pop? You're giving off some serious singing energy, my guy. Okay, to be fair, the radio of yesterday and today, or whatever the fuck. I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, or even really in the rest of the country, but around here, it's the 80s, 90s, and today. A whole 25 goddamn years in today's music. You can't help it. I don't feel bad for him. You can't help it hearing Queen. It's always on the radio. Unless you're listening to pop, but he eyes me with sudden interest. You think any of them have released cassette tapes? Aside from our contrasting views on modernity, our little journey proceeds smoothly. Too smoothly, in fact. A violent itch grows within me, to tease, scratch, prod, and I can't help but give in. Let's shake him until he spills? I guess. I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to do here, yeah? We wouldn't go direct. Shake him until he spills. Holy shit, watch out! He doesn't even flinch. The hell? We're gonna crash, and seriously, are you a robot or what? No, just seasoned, and in the right mind. What was that really about then? Because you need to do better than that to freak me out. Just the traffic driving me nuts. Thought I'd stir up a little chaos, a little bit of anarchy? Is that your subtle way of inquiring about a seemingly touchy subject? You tell me. Embrace yourself for disappointment. My run-ins with the Anarchs aren't nearly as thrilling as you might hope. I landed in New York about 2 years ago. Shortly after, I managed to save a handful of kindred. What wonderful timing. Didn't she come here 2 years ago or something? Shortly after, I managed to save a handful of kindred, mostly of the Anarch variety, although I do believe there's some Camarilla in the mix. It earned me what I would call tentative trust from Torque, and not much else, as you might have assessed back in Elysium. Wow, how noble. So how'd you go from kindred hero to Camarilla's gopher? There's a pause, as if he's genuinely considering the trajectory of his unlife. I have a knack for playing peacemaker, apparently, and while Torque considers it an asset, the Camarilla thinks it is a chink in his armor. Compromise isn't really in their vocabulary, you know. Who were we in the first game? Because we got to choose, as I recall. But we were adopted, and I only know that because of the wiki. We were adopted by Langley. Is Pedric us in the first game? No, can't be. According to the wiki, this game happens 5 years after the last one. So, whatever. Anyway, I have a knack for playing peacemaker, but compromise isn't really in their vocabulary, you know? Well, I definitely do know, but if you saved some Camarilla kindred as well, why not start with them and curry some favor? They're the fat cats of New York, right? I'm a caitiff, Kali. My kind is not exactly welcome around the Ivory Tower. A rare feeling of guilt washes over me, even though there's no bitterness in his voice. After a brief, uncomfortable silence, I abruptly change the subject and lead the conversation into a slightly different track. Any other major players in the city? Tell me more about the Anarchs. I mean, this is kind of what we're after, isn't it? Or should we know about this? Since he would be an outsider, maybe he knows? Slightly different track. Okay, sure. So we have the Camarilla and the Anarchs. That's pretty much standard fare. Anybody else to keep an eye out for? No. His response is so swift it borders on phony, but his face remains as impassive as always. Right. How about cool stories about the Anarchs? You seem to gel with them the most? So again, the illusion of choice would get wrapped right back around to the Anarchs. He hesitates briefly. His hands, while placed firmly on the steering wheel, meet in the middle, as his fingers start nervously fiddling with the dice ring. Deep down, the logical part of me knows I should back off. But the readily available part, the one right beneath my cold dead skin, lurches at this opportunity to sneak straight into the vault of secrets. Come on, I'm dying of boredom here. You must have some wild tales to tell, something not found in your pile of books? Fidgeting with the ring stops. His hands return to the perfectly sensible 9-3 on the wheel. No wild tales, really. I mostly just talk to people. Riveting. What kind of people? Thin bloods, for the most part. I was particularly interested in one called Sana. Mentioning her tends to shut conversations down. Probably because she met her final death 4 years back at the hands of the sheriff, no less. I don't think that was the girlfriend that they were talking about. I don't think that's this. She was human. Anyway, not a thin blood. Thin blood's neither wholly vampire nor mortal. The ever-changing nature of the Duskborn evokes pity, jealousy, and fear in equal measure. Considered little more than trash by most vampires, thin bloods are banding together, leveraging their resistance to sunlight and the strange, mercurial adaptability of their powers against their oppressors. Dear? Wow, she must have really stirred the pot. Well, she did go on a mortal killing spree, but I'm not one to judge whether or not the punishment fit the crime. What? Wait, she just straight up murdered a bunch of mortals? Why? Thin bloods usually just sort of lie low. Better for their health in general. He hesitates again. Why so secretive about a thin blood going rogue? She claimed she was acting under orders from Cain, urging her to kill. Wow. Cain, a mythical figure considered to be the first and most powerful vampire, the same person as Cain from the biblical stories. Some vampires refer to themselves as Cainites, members of the race of Cain. My eyebrows shoot up, waiting for him to continue. He allegedly told Sana the end of the world is nigh, and somehow that devolved into a killing spree. She never questioned why the creator of her whole species would specifically choose her. Straight up went on a rampage? For some reason, this perfectly innocent remark really gets on his nerves. Look, I'm just telling you what I've heard. I never met Sana myself, I just found her condition fascinating. Hey, no need to go get worked up. I glanced at your research notes. I know you're really into this inner voices stuff. I'm not judging, it's just that we can end this conversation anytime you want, really. It's just that you have some really niche hobbies, you know? May I interest you in, I don't know, crocheting or something? It's a lot less intense than chasing crazies. Kindred might not need air. But Pedric sighs so profoundly, it probably echoes into the very afterlife, or wherever else Sana went after meeting her final death. The Bronx. I'm not sure what I expected from an Anarch outpost in one of the most densely populated cities in the America. In America? In America. Maybe a sewer hideaway sitting right next to the local rats. Maybe a few Prohibition-era cellars linked by a web of secret corridors. Maybe even a chaotic squat in a dilapidated brownstone. But a grimy auto repair shop with a bold red sign proudly declaring its Motto's place? This definitely wasn't on my list. Is it about your car? Now, I know I'm not supposed to talk about your perfectly serviceable car anymore, but is this really the right time for your yearly inspection? Ouch, the silent treatment. Pedric parks carefully, checking the side mirrors to see if he's aligned perfectly with the curb. Finally, with a satisfied nod, he turns the engine off. Let's go. And he gets out of the car just like that. I follow, of course, not because he told me to, but, well, hanging solo in a car at night gets really boring real fast. Even with Queen dee-doo-daying all in the background. Turn that off. Otto, are you here? Otto equals Moto. I fully expect company, but I still flinch when a huge, burly kindred steps out from the shadows, quieter than a mouse. His grime-covered arms are all set to give Pedric, a bear hug. But he stops himself at the very last moment, either from plain common sense or because I'm there. Paddy, looking good, my man. Is it Pedric? Not, but whatever, I'm gonna keep calling him Pedric. What can I do for you? Need me? Holy shit. What the? Okay. Tone it down a little, huh? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let go. What on fucking earth are you doing? Okay, that did nothing. She's got a loud place. Fuck, for real. Come on. What the shit is going on? Let go of it. What are you fucking tied to? Are you serious? Okay, it's on its own. Whatever the fuck. Alright. Continue. Damn. Okay, and listen. Okay. I have had to go into my volume mixer and turn off the game's audio. That is, whoa, hey. Turn that on. Anyway, Mato, are you there? Pedric, Bear Hug. I even went out, like I went back to the main menu, and the settings didn't save. So I don't know if it's like saves on close or whatever. That is a big bug. There's a big bug in the game. You cannot be doing that. Let's see. Patty, looking good, my man. What can I do for you? Need me to take a look at that old clunker of yours? Patty? Clunker? Now this is going to be good. I grin at Patty expectantly, only to be met with his gaze full of discontent. My clunker is in top shape, thank you, Mato. Besides, I can see we're rather busy tonight. Still, I hoped you'd have a moment or for a few questions, though. It won't take long. Mato erupts into laughter, patting Patty on the shoulder with a hand as big as a dinner plate. Any mortal would be pulverized by a friendly little pat like that. This gentle giant is truly something else. Anything for you, my man. And speaking of, who's this you brought? Mato's gaze cuts right through me, his hawkish eyes surprisingly cool and sharp despite his rugged exterior. A split second passes before I realize he's sizing me up, and that I'm coming up short. Mato probably wouldn't spare me a second glance if it weren't for Pedric. Mato, meet Kali. She's got in a bit of a situation with the Ivory Tower. You see, well, to put it short, her execution's on hold, provided she delivers the council her sire's head on a silver platter. Mato lets out a long whistle, his eyes gaining a touch of warmth and, dare I say, grudging respect. Damn, what's your sire accused of? That's kind of what we're trying to piece together. Ever come across a lick who goes by Reynard Castle? Reynard, huh? Can't say it rings a bell. What's his deal? Blood trade, among other things. Pedric says it quietly, sharply, with no hesitation, and I swear I see a bit of vitae drain from Mato's face. He almost drops the dirty rag he's been fiddling with ever since we got here. A tense silence fills the air, stretching like an endless rubber band. Thankfully, just as I am a second away from blurting out some nonsense to break it, Mato speaks up. I left that shit behind, man. You know that. I know. Believe me. We're not here to dredge up the past. We just need a direction. Nothing more, nothing less. Surely there's someone who's still in the loop, someone who might have heard some rumors. Mato finds silent, avoiding Pedric's eyes. Internally, I'm giving Pedric a standing ovation. I mean, I'm well aware I've misjudged my caitiff caretaker, but damn if he's not a wire puller. Maybe he could even teach me a thing or two. I get it. It's a difficult situation for you, but I was really hoping you could help me out here. You know, I would not hesitate to reciprocate, as I have in the past. And yeah, I know. He seems more resigned than irritated, but still refuses to speak, eyes downcast, body language borderline deer in headlights. Must be some juicy history between those two, and I make sure to remember that info for later. Pedric shoots me a quick look, but before he can double down on the guilt-tripping, I flash my most charming grin and step forward. You see, I've only known Patty here for, a single night? Turns out that's more than enough to figure he's pretty good at killing the vibe when he puts his mind to it. That earns me an outraged glare from the caitiff, which I cheerfully ignore, and an unexpected chuckle from Mato. I count my blessings and push on. Look, I don't know the first thing about you, the whole blood trade drama or whatever. That's none of my business. I'm not about to dig into your dirt. Survival's the game we're all playing, right? Throwing Reynard a quote out there is kind of cheap, but it tends to work like a charm. So I'll back off. Plus, I'm in a spot where I really can't afford to have anyone else in this town be pissed off at me. Yeah, gotcha. It's just that no need to spell it out for me. Gnarly pasts are sort of my thing, you know? Let's just drop the whole shebang, eh? He nods hesitantly, and I'm not sure if he caught on to my attempt to win him over. I really hope he didn't. I've already scanned his workshop and caught a bait or two I can feed him to keep him on the hook. Let's over-appreciate some of his stuff? Let him see a fellow enthusiast in me. I mean, that's just straight bullshitting. And this... I mean, we probably shouldn't do the bullshitting, although that's kind of my thing, right? Over-appreciate some of his stuff? I gotta say, though, you've got quite the setup here. Wait, is that a ZX Is that a 1 or whatever? What? Oh, right. Picked it up super cheap from some diva over in Long Island a few weeks ago. The guy had a nasty crash, pretty much wrecked it, but he had no clue about the gem he was letting go of. Seriously, it looks like it just rolled off the assembly line. You got some sort of golden touch? He swells with pride at the compliment, and I bite back a grin. Everyone's got their soft spots. Otto's just happened to be glaringly obvious, if you ask me. The banner. No golden touch, no, just the right tools and some elbow grease. A whole lot of time, it seems. Well, yeah, but that I've got in abundance now, so I've only come across one other like it. My friend had one almost identical, except for the decals. She always moaned about the engine overheating. Exactly. I lean in for a closer look at the sport bike and can't help letting out an exaggerated gasp. Hold on, did you swap out the cooling system for a custom one? Yeah, it bugged me to no end. Plus, this one's a huge help with the overheating, even on fast rides. This time he genuinely smiles, and without contriving to, I smile back just as warmly. Totally snag one if it wasn't for all that Raynard drama. Well, I'm always on the hunt for a good find. I can't guarantee this model, but if I come across another butte like this, I could hold on to it for you if you're interested. You know what? I might take you up on the offer. Just got to deal with this Camarilla situation first. Gleefully sift through Mato's treasures, pretending I don't see him watching me like a hawk, clearly fighting a vicious internal battle. But in the end, neither of us breaks our silent standoff. It's time we head out. We still need to find someone who can actually give us some answers. Sorry to bother you, Mato. Thank you for your time. Now, that's cold, even by Pedric standards, but it sets me up perfectly. Smile brightly at Mato and wave a little. Might not come back. This is goodbye. Farewell, gentle giant. Bye, Mato. Look after your little Shangri-La of yours, okay? We turn around to leave, and I quietly count the steps, but before I reach 3, Mato curses under his breath and speaks up. Hold up. Pedric shoots me a meaningful look, but it's gone by the time we both turn back to the friendly giant. Mato's gnawing at his bottom lip and twisting the rag between his fingers. Yes? I really am out of that business, Patty. I know, Mato. Still, some whispers find their way to my ears. Nobody likes gossip more than a buzzed-up kindred. Ain't that the truth? Usually comes in real handy, too. Yeah, so there's this thin-blood alchemist, Skylar by her name, I think. Or is her name? Hangs out at Sunny's a lot. Sunny's? Empire of the Sun. It's a local anarch dive. Yeah, exactly. Sunny's. If anybody knows anything about the blood trade, it's her. She's the only albino around, too, so you won't mistake her for a nun. Or you won't mistake her for a nun. What? uh, thank you, Mato. That's all we need. I owe you big time. Who knows? You might have saved my skin there. Don't mention it. Still, we should get going. Take care. Not so fast, a runt. Dun. I wish I could actually listen to the music now, because I'm sure that was. What's with the kindred in this city and their love of lurking, or is it me who's losing edge? Ms. Sorrento, what a pleasure. The air crackles with their mutual glares, Pedric stoic, hers livid. Mato waves at her awkwardly, to which she responds with a curt nod. Me? I might as well be invisible to her. Torque needs you. Now. Cannot read. That says. Why? Came here to tell you, not to debate you, caitiff. Figure it out on your own. Pedric tries to. So if everyone's just following us, what the hell are we doing? Pedric tries to hide his frustration, but his jaw is set and his shoulders tight. Fine, let's get moving, Kali. I don't think you heard me right. Torque summoned you. Your Ravnos pup is not invited. She turns on her heel and walks off into the night. The cluttered car shop suddenly feels a touch more welcoming, as if starlight broke through after a storm. Mato gives Pedric another one of those awkward shoulder pats, but it does have a relaxing effect on him. Or at least it stops him erratically spinning the ring. She seems delightful. Sure. Wow, another kindred who dims down the room. You really got them by the dozen here in the Big Apple, huh? Yeah, she's kind of definitely one of them. Name's Mia, Torque's enforcer. Sort of big fish around here. Bigger than Torque sometimes. Easy, Patty. You wouldn't want her catching wind of that. Pedric clears his throat in a uselessly mortal manner. Right, I believe that is our cue to go. Thanks again, Mato. We'll mention it, and hey, you're welcome back anytime, both of you. You got it. Later. Okay, so now we got at least one more place to go. Pedric gnashes his teeth so loudly I can hear it a good 5 feet away. He's spinning his ring in such a violent and erratic manner that for a brief, bizarre moment I think he's going to rip his finger off. So I make a brilliant, as always, decision to lighten the mood. So Mato's super cool. Not gonna lie, I don't think I ever met a kindred as charming and likable as Mato. What's his deal? Where's he hiding the bodies? From what I gather, his skeletons are buried deep in his past. Mato used to be quite the skilled thaumaturge once, delving into the darker arts, albeit reluctantly. His sire can be quite intense. Oh! That, who was in the cutscene there? Aren't they all? I maintain no, it's probably still our sire. Right. I'm happy to report that my efforts seem to have worked, or at least Pedric straightens up and puts his hand in the pockets instead of maiming them with the twisty ring. And still, who knows what this little who knows what his little claws are doing to the lining of his coat? So what's the plan now? I have to go see Torque. Yeah, I gathered, but Scary Enforcer Lady made it clear I wasn't invited to the party. You'll just have to wait in the car then. Look, as much as I consider your perfectly serviceable car to be excellent company, both know I can't just sit around doing nothing. Then I'll ask someone to keep an eye on you. It should not take long. Bullshit. You and your endless debates? I'll be old and gray before you come back, and that's not even an option anymore. Seriously, you handle Torque, and I'll head over to Sunny's to look for the Skylar girl. That's not happening. Come on, I've been the very model of temperance tonight. We've only been awake for mere hours. Splitting hairs. I'm heading to Sunny's to wait for you there. Scout's honor. He sighs, rubbing tiredly at his eyes. I don't miss GPS. I miss smartphones. I don't miss GPS? I mean, what else can we do? Are you going to chip me like a dog or something? Before you say anything, I'm highly allergic to any form of tracking, tech or otherwise. I have no idea what any of that means. Probably for the best. A shade of amusement crosses Pedric's face, but he manages to swiftly suppress it. Look, it seems we're out of options here. You'll have to come with me and wait for a bit. I'll figure out what Torque wants from me, and then trails off mid-sentence and stares blankly into the distance, hands joining together to spin his ring. I wave my hand in front of his face, but he doesn't even flinch. Talk about being out there. Trust me, I'm an expert on out there. After what seems like a lifetime, he finally speaks up, and I feel every single drop of predictability evaporate. All right, let's meet at Empire of the Sun in an hour. Hold up, for real? Empire of the Sun, 1 hour, do not let me down. And before I even have a chance to say anything, like maybe thanks or crack a joke, he turns on his heel, hops into his perfectly serviceable vehicle, drives off into the night. I feel right at home, all alone and without anyone breathing down my neck. Surprisingly, to myself and probably to Pedric as well, I have no intention of bailing. Not when there's a solid lead waiting for me at Sunny's. But then again, the night is young, lit up, and gorgeous, and I'm alone in the city that never sleeps. Why not enjoy the scenic route? With that, I mean, I guess maybe could. I don't know why we would. We do have to feed here probably pretty soon. I'm going to see if maybe turning this off is what saves the game, like the settings, so we can have some audio again, but man, I don't know. Mato came through. I finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Local thin blood alchemist has intel about blood trading, and that sounds like a straight shot to my sire. I guess probably Mato's here. Yeah, Tremere apostate. Traumatized by his sire's ruthlessness, Mato Blomquist left his clan and the world of thaumaturgy behind to pursue a path more in harmony with his peaceful nature. He opened a car repair shop in the Anarch turf and threw himself into his work, finding solace in an unlikely hobby. This gentle giant is probably the most humane kindred in the Bronx. Just ask Pedric Conroy, once his regular customer, then a savior, now Mato's ally. Mia Sorrento. Right hand to Torque. When Mia Sorrento means business, there's little that will sway her, that can sway her. Fact well known by the licks who respect her. She once considered herself Torque's protector and moral compass, steering him toward anarch ideals. However, as he increasingly aligned with the Camarilla, she became more radical in her opposition. The situation escalated when she lost her status as Torque's advisor, supplanted by the caitiff Pedro Conroy. Her clash with Torque is inevitable. The only question is when. Pedro Conroy. Did this add more stuff or what? I thought I already went through these people. Yeah, because we already talked. What the fuck? Where do you look to these people? Why are they active again? Anyway, see you next time.